and politics not mix at all? Well, I can say this from now. I believe that religion does have a role in politics. I come from a Christian Democrat party, and it is no secret that the policies and values of the party that I come from are inspired by the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. At the same time, I am aware that Europe's democratic values and fundamental human rights also find their roots in religion. The European Union, with all its emphasis on secularism and freedoms, also values religion and thinks that religion does have a role to play in politics. It was towards the end of the 1980s that the then President of the European Commission, Jacques Delors, established the dialogue with religions, churches, and communities of conviction. This political action had to be founded on a European identity and a sense of belonging. And so President Jacques Delors felt it necessary to talk with representatives of organizations active in the field of science, culture, and religion in order to exchange ideas about the meaning and implications of the European process of integration. He therefore decided that the Commission, the European Commission, should hold a regular dialogue with religions, churches, and communities of conviction. His successors, Jacques Santer, Romano Prodi, and now Manuel José Barroso, have continued the dialogue that President Jacques Delors had started in the 80s. Yet it is important to note that the inclusion of religion in Europe's politics does not depend on the whims of politicians. It is actually spelled out clearly in European law. Now, Father Peter Saracino en Clot always liked to remind me that when he met the Pope we have today, on one of the last occasions that he met him, the Pope told him that insofar as Europe is concerned, he saw three priorities for the Church in this order. First of all, that the European Union should have a regular dialogue with the Church. Secondly, that the European Union should respect the principle of subsidiarity when it comes to religious and ethical issues. And thirdly, and I repeat, in this order, that ideally the European Constitution should also include a reference to the Christian roots of Europe. Unfortunately, as you all know, the European Constitution did not include this reference because there was an objection to it and even a veto by France. But when it comes to the first priority of the Pope, well, I can tell you, and probably you know, that the Treaty on the European Union includes in Article 17 a specific obligation on the part of the European Union to engage in a regular and ongoing dialogue with the Church, as well as religious organizations. So the obligation of the European Union to take religion into consideration is clear. In practice, this dialogue means that the European Commission has regular bilateral exchanges with partners from different religions at their requests. It also regularly organizes events at various levels in order to implement this treaty obligation. This kind of dialogue is also practiced at the European Parliament. Religious figures are regular guests in our Parliament. We had the Grand Mufti of Syria a while ago. We had the Dalai Lama as a guest. Parliament also had Pope John Paul II as a guest in 1988. We also have religious representatives as guests on a regular basis. I also personally cooperate with religious organizations on a regular basis, and obviously I do so in particular with COMISA, which is the European Commission, the Commission of European Bishops in Europe. This is based in Brussels. Now, if religion has a role, then why is there conflict between politics and religion? Let me pass to this question. So once we establish that religion has a role in politics, where does the problem actually lie? A few months ago, I thought extensively about this question, since following the divorce referendum in Malta, my own party was labeled as being a confessional party and a hostage to church teaching. I feel these accusations were unfair. However, this is not the place to get into them. But it is in this context that I organized a conference on political thought and values in the political academy, which is associated with my party, which is the Azad Foundation. It is the Academy for the Development of a Democratic Environment. It is an academy that I chair. During this conference, there was mutual acceptance that religion had a role in politics. However, what was focused on was what this role should be, where should it start, and where should it stop. A lot was said. However, three general thoughts I took home with me from this conference, and I would like to share them with you. First of all, religion and politics are not one and the same thing. Religion has to respect politics as secular and neutral. This has to be done in the context of the fact that there are different religions and that there are people who are not religious. Each and every one of these peoples has human dignity, which has to be respected. Article 10, let us not forget, of the European Charter on Fundamental Rights lays down that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or in private, to manifest religion in belief, in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. The second thought that I took away with me from this conference we held at Azad was that when in contact with politics, religion must respect freedom and human rights, values which incidentally find their source in religion itself. When you have a religion which tries to impose itself upon society, then we have a problem, as this religion would not be necessarily respecting human dignity. Even worse, when you have religion which justifies the killing of others for the sake of its teaching, or which is used to justify the killing of others for the sake of its teachings, you then have something which goes totally counter to the basic notion of human dignity and of that religion itself. And thirdly, the third thought that I took away from this conference is that politics itself should recognize the contribution that religion can give to its own substance. Aristotle had noted that man is a political animal, but clearly we also know that man is a spiritual animal. So I truly believe that religion should be given its due value, as it has a lot to contribute in politics. To conclude, well, in conclusion, I would like to say that religion and politics are certainly not contradictory to my mind. On the contrary, they are complementary one to another. However, religion and politics can be an explosive concoction if they are mismanaged or if they are abused. Both religious figures and politicians therefore have a great responsibility for the explosion not to occur. Politics and religion both aim towards the good of humanity. But if one of them goes counter to human dignity, then its purpose would have been usurped and defeated. For politics and religion are powerful forces of good, but they also have the potential to bring tremendous suffering and misery if misused. So I would say, let us work together for this not to happen. Let us work so that politics and religion can indeed reach their full potential for the good of all of us. Thank you for your attention.